Why? Why was this necessary? Hi there everyone, welcome back to On the Flip Side. My name is Adam Shawwalker, your host, and today we're going to be checking out this new album from Jeff Beck and Johnny Depp, and it's called 18. Look, the whole trial thing aside, this is a weird, not particularly great cover album. And I know there's a couple originals too, I'll get to that. I know this album was in the works for a while now, but it didn't really settle in just how generally tasteless the whole thing was until now. And this video isn't meant to be some kind of hit piece on Depp. I'm actually very glad that the man has had his movie career more or less put back on track, despite whatever lasting effects there may be. But this collection of songs, it's not only presented at a bad time, it's also poorly thought through, with multiple songs where it seems like Depp is trying to convince you of how bad he is hurting. And don't get me twisted, there is a way to channel grief in a way that seems more genuine, but this really just is not it. And the real kicker is, Johnny Depp has been a part of some very good projects in the past, my favorite being 1995's P, an album that features Gibby Haynes from the Butthole Surfers in a really interesting, heavy alternative punk grunge thing. There's really great originals on that album as well as some covers. The ABBA cover of Dancing Queen might be my favorite cover of that song. I also really love the Daniel Johnston cover of I Save Cigarette Butts. Anyway, that was a tangent, but the point is, Depp is not a stranger to putting out good music. I mean, the fact that Hollywood Vampires exists at all is probably a testament to the fact that he has forgotten that, but still, the man is not clueless. So, where are these weak covers and fairly poorly written original tracks coming from? I mean, first of all, how fucking dare you fuck up the Death and Resurrection show? That is a fantastic song from Killing Joke, and a song that I would argue is one of the main reasons they were able to modernize so well and stay relevant into the 21st century. They absolutely ruin the impact of the intro and have no real idea how to pace this track out. And on the vocal side of things, Johnny Depp sounds like he has completely phoned it in. It genuinely sounds like his vocals at points are being just sung through a fucking box fan or something, like some kind of hungover robot. And that's just the first non-instrumental track. And not to mention, there's really not a ton of great production work on this album either. Time has a lot of lousy, highly compressed guitar work, the drums clip a lot, and Depp's vocals are reverb to the point of being comical. This obviously extends into the first original, Sad Motherfucking Parade, which is a really odd moment. I mean, the whole song is desperately trying to convince you of how much of a bad bitch Johnny Depp is, which, considering this has come out on the tail end of that whole trial, seems a bit in bad taste. I would like to reiterate, I don't think Johnny Depp is a domestic abuser. However, that does not mean he can't be a piece of shit for other reasons. Anyway, this track has some really questionable writing choices with a kind of half-spoken word, half-down-pitched vocal delivery, which really does not land very well as they're trying to use it as kind of a percussion piece, and it just comes across as sluggish and not very well thought through. It wants to just ooze with swagger so bad, but it just makes me think of the Johnny Depp impersonator from goddamn Nathan For You. The other original song on this album is called This Is a Song for Miss Heidi Lamarr, which is slightly less of a mess, but still doesn't hold up very well. It sounds like an attempt at soaring singer-songwriter styles, sort of like a Josh Tillman level of bravado, without any of the tongue-in-cheek lyricism or clever writing, but with all of the confidence still, which really almost makes the whole thing worse, because there's artists who lack confidence and are bad, and then there's artists who are awful and are utterly convinced that they have something to say, and this is what that feels like. In this track, Depp is trying to make a comparison between himself and Heidi Lamarr, a comparison that doesn't really land very well because of the drastically different scenarios. Heidi Lamarr obviously went into hiding voluntarily, and here we have Johnny Depp putting out sort of like a retaliative rock album, but clearly that has just gone over Depp's head. And I guess at the very least, Beck's solo on this song is actually pretty well done. Depp still sounds clocked out though, like that kind of cool that's trying to sound effortless that's not really that cool at all. The Beach Boys cover of Caroline No is too self-indulgent for its own good. I'm not really a big fan of the overuse of guitar-centered instrumentals that are all over this album, but like here it's just like really masturbatory. The Miracles cover Ooh Baby Baby is one of the better cuts here, with a pretty surprisingly good falsetto from Depp. The lyrical content though is just a little bit too on the nose for me. Like, you won, dude. Like, this just seems like a weird way to kind of rub it in. Like, not that I can blame the guy much, but this is like a grown-ass man, and at this point, it's kind of hard to watch. That issue, of course, persists onto the Marvin Gaye cover of What's Going On, which, again, a little bit much. Unlike the last track, though, this one doesn't really have any kind of redeeming performances on it. It's just kind of another head-scratcher. What did they do to this Velvet Underground track? Like, to say some artistic liberties have been taken is a bit of an understatement. It's like they're trying to do a goth rock ballad, but they just did not translate it well at all. Like, if they had maybe gone for more of like a classic post-punk goth sound, like maybe like a Sisters of Mercy style or something, a little bit more like Baroque Gothic instead of whatever this is, maybe that would have worked, but this is awful. I don't really have a ton much else to say. Let It Be Me is, again, a very self-indulgent, but at least a little bit gentler and slightly less in-your-face track. Stars pretty much lands in the same spot as Let It Be Me, though the vocal work is pretty suitable to Depp's style and a fairly decent change of pace for this album. And the John Lennon cover of Isolation is yet another fairly shallow analog for the loneliness of success and fame, and comes across again as a really forced kind of poor me track, which, I mean, man, if it is actually a genuine feeling, is kind of really sad and embarrassing in this context. Anyway, there's really not much redeeming about this album. Even if this wasn't released in the wake of a massive domestic abuse trial, this would still be pretty bad, though maybe a little bit less tasteless. And I think one of the hardest parts is, like I said at the beginning of this video, Johnny Depp is no stranger to good music. He clearly enjoys a lot of good music, as the cover picks are actually great songs, but the utter and complete bastardization of many of these tracks is almost unforgivable. My negative feelings for this album almost surpass my negative feelings towards whoever the fuck was cranking out those trial highlight videos for 2 goddamn months. If I ever find you, I will go to prison for my actions. Anyway, this album, 18, is a pretty solid 2. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the album in the comments below, and remember to like and subscribe. Also, check out my Instagram, my Reverb, and my Depop. Links to those are all in the description below. Thank you all so much again, and we'll see you on the flip side.